The 24/7 brand revolution, unleashing your business's hidden superpower. Welcome to the Black CEO Podcast, where we challenge conventional wisdom and ignite the spark of transformation in the business world. Today, we're about to embark on a journey that will revolutionize the way you think about your brand, your business, and your impact on the world. I'm thrilled to share with you the groundbreaking insights I gained from an extraordinary conversation with Candace Joseph, a visionary trailblazer in the realm of branding and business strategy. Candace Joseph isn't just another consultant or marketing guru. She's a force of nature, a catalyst for change who's reshaping the very foundations of how we understand and leverage our brands. Her innovative approach has helped countless businesses transcend their limitations, empowering them to create lasting, meaningful impact far beyond their bottom lines. Candace's work isn't just about building successful businesses. It's about forging a better, more connected world through the power of authentic, purpose-driven branding. Now, brace yourselves, because what I'm about to share with you is nothing short of revolutionary. It's a perspective that will challenge everything you thought you knew about branding and business. Are you ready to have your mind blown? Are you prepared to see your brand, your business, and your role in the world in a completely new light? Let's start with the provocative question. When does your brand clock out? If you're like most business owners, you might think your brand stops working when you lock up the office and head home for the day. You might believe that your brand is just your logo, your marketing materials, or your customer service during business hours. But what if I told you that this thinking is not just wrong, but dangerously limiting? Here's the truth bomb that Candace Joseph dropped on me, and now I'm passing it on to you. Your brand never clocks out. It's with you 24/7, 365 days a year, creating an impact far beyond what you can imagine. Your brand is a living, breathing entity that exists in every interaction, every impression, every whisper about your business, whether you're actively managing it or not. Let that sink in for a moment. Your brand is always on, always working, always shaping perceptions and influencing decisions. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? But it's also incredibly empowering when you realize the potential it holds. Think about it this way. When you walk down the street, your brand walks with you. When your employees go home to their families, your brand goes with them. When someone mentions your company name in passing conversation, your brand is there, shaping that interaction. Your brand is not just a part of your business, it is your business in its most essential distilled form. This realization challenges the conventional wisdom that branding is just a marketing tool or something that only matters during business hours. Now, see, instead, it places your brand at the very core of everything you do, everything you are, and everything you aspire to be as a business. Now, you might be thinking, that's all well and good for big corporations or celebrity CEOs, but does it really matter for my small business? And that's exactly the kind of thinking Candace wants to disrupt. Because here's the truth. Your brand isn't just about profits. It's about impact. It's about the mark you leave on the world, whether you're actively trying to or not. Let me share a story that illustrates this point perfectly. Tracy Curl, the founder of Intrabiz, created a brand that extends far beyond her office walls. She didn't just build a business. She fostered global connections and built a community. Her brand isn't confined to a logo or a tagline. It's present in every interaction, every connection, every piece of value she adds to her network. This is the kind of brand impact that Candace Joseph is talking about. But let's dig deeper. What does it really mean for your brand to be always on, always working? Candace outlined 3 key insights that I want to share with you today, and trust me, they're going to change the way you think about your business forever. First, brand experience extends beyond the office. Your brand's influence isn't confined to your marketing efforts or your product. It permeates every aspect of your business, from the physical environment of your workspace to the way your employees interact with each other and your customers. Think about it. Have you ever walked into a store and immediately felt the brand even before you saw a single product? That's the power of a brand that extends beyond traditional boundaries. Imagine you run a small coffee shop. Your brand isn't just about the quality of your coffee or the design of your cups. It's about the aroma that greets customers when they walk in. It's about the smile and genuine welcome from your baristas. It's about the conversations that happen over your tables, the community that forms around your space. Your brand is the feeling people get when they think about your shop, even when they're miles away. This extended brand experience is not just nice to have, it's essential in today's hyper-connected world. In an age where a single tweet can go viral, where word of mouth travels at the speed of light, your brand is being experienced and judged at every moment. The question is, are you consciously shaping that experience or letting it happen by default? Second, employee satisfaction drives customer satisfaction. This might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, isn't the customer always right? But Candace argues, and I wholeheartedly agree, that satisfied employees are crucial in creating satisfied customers. Why? Because your employees are the living, breathing embodiment of your brand. Their experiences and perceptions of your brand significantly impact how they interact with customers. Think about it. Have you ever been served by an employee who clearly hated their job? How did that make you feel about the business? Now contrast that with an interaction with an employee who genuinely loves what they do and believes in the company they work for. The difference is night and day, isn't it? Your employees are not just workers, they're brand ambassadors. They carry your brand with them everywhere they go, in every interaction they have. When they're satisfied, when they believe in your mission, when they feel valued and supported, that positive energy radiates outward. It infuses every customer interaction with authenticity and passion. Happy employees create happy customers. It's as simple and as profound as that. But here's the kicker. This doesn't just apply during work hours. Your employees don't stop being associated with your brand when they clock out. They talk about their work with friends and family. They post about it on social media. They carry the essence of your brand into their communities. Are you empowering them to be positive ambassadors for your brand, even when they're off the clock? And third, continuous brand experience refinement is essential. Your brand isn't static. It's a living, breathing entity that needs to evolve with changing customer preferences and market trends. This means constantly refining and improving your brand experience to ensure it remains dynamic and engaging. This is where many businesses fall short. They create a brand, maybe even a great brand, and then they set it and forget it. But in today's fast-paced, ever-changing world, that's a recipe for irrelevance. Your brand needs to be as dynamic and adaptable as the world around it. Think about some of the most enduring brands in the world. Companies like Apple, Nike, or Coca-Cola. These brands have remained relevant for decades, not because they've stayed the same, but because they've continuously evolved while staying true to their core essence. They've refined their brand experience time and time again to meet the changing needs and expectations of their customers. But continuous refinement doesn't mean constant upheaval. It's about staying attuned to your customers, your employees, and the world around you. It's about being willing to adapt and grow, to try new things and learn from both successes and failures. It's about seeing your brand as a journey, not a destination. Now, these insights might sound great in theory, but how do they play out in the real world? Let's look at some fascinating examples that Candace shared, which illustrate these principles in action. First, let's talk about Netflix. We all know Netflix is the streaming giant that's changed the way we consume entertainment. But did you know that they've leveraged social listening to build a brand voice that's authentic and differentiated? They face a significant challenge, understanding and engaging with a vast and diverse audience. Their solution? They utilize social listening to develop relatable content and create unique moments on social media. Imagine being a fly on the wall in Netflix marketing department. Picture a team of creative minds huddled around screens, poring over social media conversations, looking for those golden nuggets of insight. They're not just tracking mentions of their brand. They're diving deep into the cultural zeitgeist, understanding what makes their audience tick, what makes them laugh, what moves them. And then magic happens. They take these insights and transform them into content that doesn't just promote their shows, but becomes part of the conversation. Remember when they tweeted about people repeatedly watching A Christmas Prince? That wasn't just a random post. It was a carefully crafted moment that showed they were paying attention, that they got their audience, that they were in on the joke. The result? Enhanced brand engagement and customer loyalty that goes far beyond just watching shows. Netflix recognized the importance of social media in understanding customer opinions and preferences. They developed new content categories and dedicated Twitter handles to drive awareness and engagement. This isn't just marketing. It's brand building in real time, 24/7. This case demonstrates how a brand can use social listening
to build a thriving brand experience that extends far beyond their core product offering. Netflix isn't just a streaming service anymore. It's a cultural touchstone, a part of our daily conversations, a brand that feels like it truly gets us. But it's not just tech companies that are leveraging these principles. Let's look at a completely different industry, sports. The Chicago Bulls, one of the most iconic basketball teams in the world, faced the challenge of connecting with fans beyond traditional sports content. They used advanced listening and analytics to uncover emerging trends and understand what content resonated most with their audience. Picture the scene. It's the off season, and while the players are resting and training, the Bulls digital team is hard at work. They're not just posting highlight reels or player stats. They're diving deep into what their fans are talking about, what they care about, what makes them feel connected to the team beyond just the game scores. They discover that fans don't just want to see the players on the court. They want to see them as real people. They want behind-the-scenes content. They want to feel like they're part of the Bulls family. So the team starts creating content that gives fans exactly that. They show players' workout routines, their charity work, their interactions with each other off the court. The outcome? Improved social presence and fan engagement that goes far beyond game day. The Bulls created interactive content and responded to fan comments, enhancing their social presence. This approach solidified their place among passionate sports fans and improved their overall brand experience. It's a perfect example of how a brand can extend its influence beyond its primary domain. In this case, from the basketball court to social media and beyond. The Chicago Bulls aren't just a basketball team anymore. They're a community, a lifestyle, a brand that fans engage with every day, whether there's a game on or not. But perhaps the most relevant example Candace shared was that of NutriSense. This company aimed to reinforce its brand mission through a compelling brand experience on social media. They faced the challenge of educating and engaging their audience effectively. Their solution? They used data-driven insights to transform interactions with their audience, focusing on user-generated content. Imagine you're part of the NutriSense team. You're passionate about helping people understand and improve their health through nutrition. But you're facing a crowded marketplace with countless voices all claiming to have the answers. How do you cut through the noise? How do you not just sell a product but create a movement? NutriSense realized that their most powerful asset wasn't their product or their expertise. It was their community. They encouraged customers to share their experiences, their challenges, their triumphs. They created a space where people could learn from each other, support each other, celebrate each other. The results were staggering. NutriSense increased their social media engagement by 45% and saw community growth of 469%. But more than just numbers, they created a brand and that people wanted to be part of, a community that people turn to for support and inspiration. This isn't just about selling more products. It's about creating a brand experience that extends far beyond the transaction. NutriSense customers don't just buy a product. They join a movement. They become part of a community that supports and empowers them. And in doing so, they become the most powerful brand ambassadors NutriSense could ask for. This case demonstrates how personalized interaction can elevate brand experience and customer loyalty, perfectly illustrating the principle of continuous brand experience refinement. NutriSense isn't just a company anymore. It's a platform for change, a community of like-minded individuals all working towards better health. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how does it apply to me and my business? And that's exactly the question Candace wants you to ask. Because here's the thing, your brand isn't just what you say it is. It's not just your logo, your tagline, or your mission statement. Your brand is the sum total of every interaction, every impression, every experience that people have with your business, whether you're there or not. Think about it this way. When you leave your office at the end of the day, does your brand clock out too? Of course not. Your brand lives on in the minds of your customers, in the conversations people have about your business, in the way your employees talk about their work when they're with friends and family. Your brand is always on, always working, always making an impact. And here's where it gets really interesting. Candace argues that this constant brand presence isn't just unavoidable. It's an opportunity to create positive change, to make a lasting impact, to build something that's bigger than just profits. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're a small business owner. You run a local bakery. Now, traditionally, You might think your brand only matters when customers are in your shop buying your bread and pastries. But what if you embrace the idea that your brand extends beyond your four walls? Suddenly, you're not just selling baked goods, you're nourishing your community. Your employees aren't just bakers and cashiers. They're ambassadors for your brand, carrying your values and mission with them wherever they go. The way you source your ingredients isn't just about quality. It's about telling a story of sustainability and supporting local farmers. Your social media isn't just about promoting daily specials. It's about sharing the joy of breaking bread together, of creating moments of connection over a shared meal. Do you see how this shift in perspective changes everything? Suddenly, your brand isn't just about what happens in your shop. It's about the impact you're making in your community,
in your industry, in the world. And that impact doesn't stop when you turn off the ovens for the night. But here's the challenge, and it's a big one. If your brand is always on, always making an impact, how do you ensure that impact is positive? How do you maintain consistency? How do you live up to your brand promise every single day and every single interaction? This is where Candace's insights about employee satisfaction and continuous refinement come into play. Your employees are the front line of your brand. They're the ones who interact with customers, who represent your business in the community. If they're satisfied, if they believe in your mission, if they feel valued and supported, that positive energy will radiate outward. It will infuse every interaction and every customer experience with the essence of your brand. Think about it. When was the last time you had an amazing customer service experience? Chances are it wasn't just about the product or service itself. It was about how you were treated, how you were made to feel. That's the power of satisfied employees who believe in their brand. And as for continuous refinement, well, that's about staying nimble, staying relevant. It's about listening to your customers, to your employees, your community. It's about being willing to evolve, to grow, to change, because the world is changing and your brand needs to change with it. But here's the key. This evolution isn't about chasing trends or losing your identity. It's about staying true to your core values while finding new ways to express them, new ways to connect, new ways to create value. It's about being responsive to the world around you without losing sight of who you are and what you stand for. Now, I want to leave you with a thought provoking question, one that Candace posed at the end of our interview. It's a question that I think has the power to transform the way you think about your business and your brand. How can you leverage every interaction, every touch point, every moment to build a cohesive and impactful brand experience? Think about that for a moment. Every interaction, every touch point, every moment. That's a big ask, isn't it? But it's also an incredible opportunity, an opportunity to create something truly remarkable, something that extends far beyond your office walls, something that makes a real difference in the world. As you ponder this question, I want you to consider a few things. First, how does your brand's culture and values come through in your physical environment? When someone walks into your office, your store, your workspace, what do they feel? What message are they receiving about who you are and what you stand for? Is your space just a place to work, or does it embody your brand's values? Does it inspire creativity, foster collaboration, promote well-being? Does it tell your brand story in a way that words alone never could? Second, how are your employees communicating your brand through their interactions, not just with customers, but with each other, with suppliers, with the community at large? Are they embodying your brand values? Are they telling your brand story? Remember, your employees are your brand ambassadors 24/7. Even when they're not at work, they're still associated with your brand. Are you empowering them to represent your brand positively? Are you giving them a brand they can be proud of, a mission they can believe in? And finally, what strategies can you put in place to continuously refine and improve your brand experience? How can you stay attuned to changing customer preferences, emerging trends, evolving societal values? This isn't about chasing every trend or reinventing yourself constantly. It's about staying true to your core while remaining relevant and responsive. It's about creating a brand that's both timeless and timely, rooted in strong values, but flexible enough to evolve with the world around it. These are big questions, I know, but they're questions worth grappling with. Because here's the truth that Candace Joseph shared with me. The truth that I hope you'll take away from this talk. Your brand is so much more than a logo or a marketing strategy. It's a living, breathing entity that has the power to create real, lasting impact in the world. Your brand doesn't clock out when you do. It's always on, always working, always making an impression. And that means you have the opportunity and the responsibility to ensure that impression is a positive one, to ensure that your brand is making the kind of impact you want to see in the world. So I challenge you, don't think of your brand as something confined to your office or your business hours. Think of it as a constant companion, a force for good that accompanies you wherever you go. Embrace the idea that every interaction, every decision, every moment is an opportunity to reinforce your brand and create positive change. Imagine the possibilities if you truly embrace this idea. What if every business, every organization saw their brand as a 24/7 force for positive change? What kind of world could we create? Think about a world where businesses don't just sell products or services, but actively contribute to solving societal problems. A world where employees don't just work for a paycheck, but are passionate ambassadors for a mission they believe in. A world where customers don't just buy things, but become part of movements that make a difference. This isn't just idealistic thinking, it's the future of business. It's what consumers are increasingly demanding, what employees are seeking, what the world needs. And it all starts with understanding the true power and potential of your brand. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a call to action. I want you to think about your brand not as something you own, but as something you steward. I want you to see it not as a tool for profit, but as a vehicle for change. Here's what I want you to do. First, take a hard look at your brand, not just your logo or your marketing materials, but the totality of your brand experience. What message is it sending? What impact is it having? Is it aligned with your values, your mission, your vision for the world? Second, engage your team in this process. Remember, they're the ones on the front lines, embodying your brand every day. Ask them how they perceive the brand. Ask them how they think it could better reflect your values and mission. Empower them to be true brand ambassadors. Third, listen to your customers, your community, the world around you. What do they need? What do they value? How can your brand meet those needs and reflect those values in a meaningful way? And finally, commit to continuous improvement. Your brand is a journey, not a destination. Commit to refining it, evolving it, making it better every single day. Because at the end of the day, your brand isn't just about what you sell or what service you provide. It's about the mark you leave on the world. It's about the lives you touch, the communities you serve, the change you create. And that impact doesn't stop when you leave the office. It continues day in and day out, shaping the world around you in ways both big and small. So I ask you one last time, what kind of impact do you want your brand to have? What kind of change do you want to create? And most importantly, how will you ensure that your brand is always working towards that goal, even when you're not there to guide it? These are the questions that Candace Joseph challenged me with. And now I'm passing that challenge on to you because I believe, as she does, that when we start thinking about our brands in this way, as constant forces for positive change, we can create businesses that don't just make profits, but make a difference. The power is in your hands. Your brand is always on, always working. The question is, what will you make it work for? Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery and transformation. Remember, your brand is always with you, always working, always creating an impression. Make sure it's the impression you want to leave on the world. Make sure it's a force for good, a catalyst for positive change, a beacon of hope in a world that desperately needs it. The future of business, and indeed the future of our world, depends on how we choose to wield the power of our brands. So let's choose wisely. Let's choose to create brands that don't just sell, but serve. Brands that don't just profit, but purpose. Brands that don't just exist in the world, but actively work to make it better. The revolution starts now. The revolution starts with you. The revolution starts with your brand. Are you ready to join it? Thank you.